Hey folks, it's Leah. Thank you for joining me today. Today I am getting back into the reaction videos after a bit of a hiatus. I'm going to be reacting to Good Boy by Paris Paloma. This is a song that was recommended by quite a few of you. I'm really excited to watch it because this is my second Paris Paloma. The first was really great, so I'm really excited for this one as well. So let's get our handy dandy headphones on and get started.
I knew one day I'd have to watch powerful men burn the world down. I just didn't expect them to be such losers.
Can we just talk about that one sentence? It's so funny. Oh my god, I have to go back. Okay. I already love her so much. She says, I knew one day that I'd have to watch powerful men burn the world down. I just didn't expect them to be such losers. Oh my god, this is great. And so timely. I mean, honestly, could not be more timely. Okay.
I have never seen submission embodied half so well as in the feeble competition between men with souls to sell. And I've never seen a god dog with less fearsome of a bite than with its tail between its legs found at the rich man's side.
Oh god, I'm already like giddy with how much I love this. She's going right for the jugular immediately. She's like saying things that are meant to like bruise the ego of men, essentially. She's like, yeah, like guys who are like crawling over each other to like sell their souls is just so like, she's like comparing it to submission. Like she's like, yeah, like you are definitely not the dominant ones when you are like that eager to sell your souls and you're just sort of like pandering to each other. Like, oh my god, this is I do love, I guess, tongue-in-cheek criticism of masculinity because like we tend to take it so seriously, but like in reality the more seriously we take it, the more damaging it tends to be. So like I love when people just absolutely have a field day with calling it out. I love this so much already. God, I've been like 2 lines in and already I've gone back like 3 times. Okay. I've never seen submission embodied half so well as in the feeble competition between men with souls to sell. Okay, so we've got this fellow, so Paris Paloma starring as Patriarchy, and then we have Tom Blythe, is it? It's funny writing, but I think it's Tom Blythe as Good Boy, and then we have Paris Paloma also as the Every Woman, so she's definitely doing a lot of the heavy lifting in this. Okay, great.
And I've never seen a god dog with less fearsome of a bite than with its tail between its legs found at the rich man's side. Look at him, he's sweating from the climb, office work, a soldier, CEO. He's bleeding and he's blind, and I have never seen a creature more pitiful than him. He drinks power like salt water, all because he cannot swim.
That's such a good line. Okay, so all of these things, like she's just basically doubling down, like, yeah, like your bark and your bite are pathetic. Basically, she's like, yeah, you're like a useless guard dog. You are like at the side of this like, you know, powerful person just like pandering basically and like hoping for crumbs or whatever. But I love this this line she says, he drinks power like salt water all because he can't swim. And it's like such a great reference because she's, when you drink salt water, it's like famously gonna hurt you a lot, right? Like it's not good. It actually like can cause a lot of problems in your body. And there's sort of like a lot of this history of like sailors and so on that have like been stranded, that have ended up drinking salt water, and they go mad, right? So there's sort of, it evokes this kind of history of like being like mad over power, if that makes sense. So it's, yeah, it's a great image as well. So I love that she put that one in there.
Because he cannot swim. Mouths open, serve a higher power.
Mouths open, servants of a higher power. So mouths open is often a very gendered thing. So we often say that about women. It's a way that we say that women achieve power by basically performing sexual favors for people. And this is something that is very sexist that we don't usually hear about men, and she's using it here about men. She's basically being like, you're the ones who are just like willing to do anything to get like a little tiny bit of power. And you probably won't even get any of that power, but you're aspiring into it so much. You're so ambitious for all this power that you don't even realize how, like, I guess, toothless you are in a way. There's a double entendre there. But like just the way that she's talking about like how like hungry they are for the scraps of power in this system or this structure, right? It has this real element of like being super pathetic, you know?
They told him it's a staircase, it's a town. Full circle, wagging tails, wearing a collar. Poor madman, that's what happens when you drink some water.
Yeah. So she's bringing back the saltwater thing. So also what's happening God, there's so much happening. I don't even know how to react to this. But the patriarchy is standing behind him and sort of like playing that kind of like devil on his shoulder. And so he's watching this woman, this every woman, right? Who's being like basically forcibly removed from the boardroom, this is of course like an image that we hear all the time, that like women don't have a position at the table, right? And we're talking about sort of these, I guess, like in employment, in positions of leadership, politics, things like that, right? So like the boardroom is very symbolic of that. But he's watching this woman be pulled out, and he's got this sort of like patriarchy whispering over his shoulder, and he just kind of smiles like, yes, this is how it should be, right? Is sort of like what that communicates. It's a very, it's subtle, but it's like, well, I don't know if it's that subtle, but his smile, I think, like really seals it. It's like, yeah, this guy buys into it completely.
Find your tongue too early and realize too late the tragedy of losing the thing you'll never taste. The clearness of the river, the honey on her tongue, door open to communion, being your father's son, and I.
This is, yeah. Paris Paloma, like, I realized that, so this is the second song I've ever heard from her. So I've never listened to her music other than when I did the reaction to Labor previously. And then this is a very different song from Labor, like sonically, like it sounds completely different. But a lot of the themes are similar in a way. Like what I'm really realizing is that like Labor was not an anomaly. This is not an anomaly. Like they're forming a pattern together where like she's just a very like poetic lyricist. Like there's a lot of people who will just sort of write in like everyday language, just like tell a story, whatever. She uses a lot of imagery in her writing. So she's talking about he burned his tongue too early and realized too late. The tragedy of losing everything he'll never taste. She's talking about everything sort of as like an analogy. It's all metaphor, right? Like she doesn't say like, I don't know, how would you summarize that in just like normal words? I guess like you were really ambitious. So you like made this sacrifice really early on that you thought was like a little thing, but now it's like messed up your whole future sort of, or like it, or you've lost a lot of things that you could have had in the future because of this kind of thoughtless sacrifice that you made early on. It's kind of like how I would describe that in normal words, but she just uses such like poetic language to talk about it. I think that's really cool. Like she's a very good writer. She's a very like poetic lyricist. She reminds me a bit of like in the like 70s and 80s when we had a lot of these kind of folk artists that were coming up and they were writing these pretty like basic songs, but like the lyrics were like poetry. And so like you would listen to, like I'm thinking of like Simon and Garfunkel, like Leonard Cohen. They would write these songs that just like musically were like, okay, like there was nothing like super extraordinary about the sound of them, but the lyrics were like poetry, right? And I feel like this is sort of what Paris Paloma is doing in the modern context. She's taking this poetry and she's putting it to music. And I would say that this is like perhaps like more like trendy and catchy than, so Labor was like a really moody kind of sound. This is actually like very popular, this kind of sound, and very like kind of like upbeat, you know? So it's fun, and it fits into like the modern musical context really well in the way that, you know, Simon and Garfunkel or Leonard Cohen would have back then. But it's sort of like not something that you see a lot, you know? When you see this kind of like popular music now, you don't tend to see a lot of the like poetry in the lyrics. And so that's really cool. I really like that she's doing that. Yeah. Yeah. I think I need to listen to more Paris Paloma.
I would not expect you to witness what we know. The songs sung in the dark times, the fire and the snow. We'll be piling up our fire, and you defend your lords, and we'll have our joy, but it will never be ours.
So she's kind of contrasting. She uses that analogy to talk about he burnt his tongue. Now there's so many things he'll never taste. And she's using that analogy to kind of build the opposite side, where she's like, yeah, like here we are over here and we're building lives for ourselves, and we understand what good priorities are. So like we understand things. I can't remember exactly what she said, but it gave a sense of like community. Like there was a lot more like community feel in what she was talking about. Just sort of talking about those parts of her life, for example, or of the average person's life, that like they have those like priorities and those values, right, that they try to live by. And that because of the choices he's made to just like pursue power, that he's lost all of that stuff. That now he doesn't really have that chip that like inspires him to like build community and have that kind of connection with what is like real and like grounded, right? So it's kind of, she's sort of doing a mirror image. She's like, here you are over here, you're chasing all this stuff, but here's all the stuff that matters, that the rest of us are working within, right? And you're just completely detached from that. So I think it's accurate. I think when you look at the people that like, as I say, this is very timely. If you look at the people now that are the men who are burning down the world and such losers, or whatever you said at the beginning, I'm trying to do it verbatim, but I think of people who are like extraordinarily rich that are playing at politics and have no idea what they're doing. And by playing this thing that they think is a game in politics, they're actually like devastating people's lives. And it's that like disconnect that she's talking about, right? She's like, you guys are over here doing this stuff that does not matter. And yet it completely destroys all of this stuff over here that really matters, that we're all working within, and that actually impacts people's lives. Like it's a pretty stark difference. And she's doing a really good job of sort of describing that. So he's just like going nuts, and the patriarchy is like having a field day. She's just cackling, and then of course all these other men are like laughing along and going kind of nuts with him, and it really feels like feral dogs, which is precisely why she called it Good Boy, I'm sure, because you think of a dog when you hear Good Boy, right? Like he's here on all fours, literally acting like a rabid dog, and all the guys are kind of like, there was some kind of gesturing kind of like this, where they were putting their head up and like it looked like they were barking or howling the way that a dog or a wolf would do. There's definitely some imagery here tying back to the name of Good Boy, where these are dogs. She's connecting them to dogs. I wonder if it's gonna there's a lot of like really dark imagery around the patriarchy stuff, and she has like the dogs that she has are black dogs. I wonder if she's talking about, like, I don't know if she's religious, but it kind of evokes like the hounds of hell. So like it could be that it's that kind of dog image that she's playing with, because like I do love me a dog. So I hope she doesn't mean just like, you know, the poodle that, you know, or the golden retriever that just like, I just want to be a good boy. You know, so but it's powerful, and like the acting on the guy who's doing the good boy part is really good. Like it's terrifying. He's like snarling at the guys at the table. He's like, she's got her hand on his collar the way that you would on a dog, right? And she's kind of trying to hold him within the bounds of what is appropriate, because you wouldn't want him to actually commit violence against other men, right? So like if he did get out of control and hurt one of them, that would violate the rules of the patriarchy, right? So it's yeah, so I think it's really a lot of visual stuff going on as well that's really cool. Even the dogs know not to drink salt water.
Good boy, you're working exactly as
You're working
intended.
exactly as
Penny
intended.
dropped, you're never gonna get it. Unrewarded for all of your defending from your loneliness epidemic.
I love her. I love her so much. Okay, but it's sort of what she talked about at the beginning, that, you know, when you like suck up to power with the hope that you're going to get a little bit of that power just because you were like trying to be nice to the person in power or what have you, it doesn't mean you're actually going to get any power, that you're going to benefit from that in any way. And she says here, has the penny dropped? You're never going to get it unrewarded for all of your defending. Yeah. Like, they don't care about you. They want you to think that they care about you so that you do whatever they want, but you're going to bend over backwards and then they're never going to give you anything. And so, like, this is just like, I don't know. She's doing a really good job of making these like ideas that are like pretty well understood by a lot of women, in particular like leftish women. We recognize this already, but she's doing a really good job of saying it out loud, but also doing it in a really beautiful way. Because as I say, like her language is just gorgeous. Like, she's very poetic in the way that she writes. And so I really love kind of this presentation of it. I think she's doing really, really great. From your loneliness epidemic. That's the part that just got me cackling, because yeah, like it's a manifestation again of what she was talking about before, where like you're over here prioritizing power, and then over here is where like everything that matters is things like relationships, community, having like a good sense of values and ethics and morals and love and kindness and like all the things that matter are over here, but then you're over here just chasing power, and then you wonder why you can't access this stuff. Has any of the money trickled down yet? Yeah, she's calling out trickle-down economics, which is a concept that you usually hear from conservatives about how if you make tax breaks for the rich, then like they will create jobs and then people will have money and so on. And we know that, from hundreds of years of us saying them saying, I guess, how that's supposed to work, that it has not worked and it is not going to work. So she's saying, has any of the money trickled down yet? I'm still waiting. I don't know about you, but I'm still waiting. Has it any of it trickled down yet? And she calls it the unpaid marketing department for the power. So basically, like, these people go out here and they defend these people who are in power, again, trying to like get a little piece for themselves, and they're never going to. So they just go unpaid, right? They're like out here doing advertising for these powerful people, and they don't get anything from it. They hope they will, but they really don't. And so it's just sort of like shooting themselves in the foot, and again, missing out on things that really matter in life. Yeah. Yeah, and he's up the tree. He's become the hunted, right? So he played by their rules. He did what they said. But it's his turn, right? Everyone's turn comes. And at the end, I love that the patriarchy has power over him too, right? Yeah. So she's able to just sort of stop him in his tracks, despite him being a dude. There's still something that she has. She still holds power over him, right? Because when we talk about the patriarchy, we're talking about something that is built on male supremacy in a way. But it sort of has become shorthand also for, like, I guess, oligarchy, any kind of sort of hierarchy where we've got certain people on top. You know, white supremacy, we have like a certain hierarchy involved in things like disability, queerness, all of these different things, right? The patriarchy is a stand-in for all of that, of course. So it may not be that it's his being a guy that she's saying, no, stop, your time has come, now you're dead, right? It could be that he's from a lower socioeconomic class. It could be that he is in some way, like maybe he's the wrong religion. Maybe he's not Christian. Basically, you have this system where eventually it comes for everybody except the tiny, tiny, tiny few that are right at the top. And that's how it's built, right? So he can pander, he can beg for scraps, he can do all of that. He can think, okay, I'm serving them, so something will come to me. Nothing's ever going to come to him, because at the end of the day, in these power structures, they eventually they discard anybody except the select elite. And so that is, I mean, it encapsulates capitalism pretty well. It encapsulates the patriarchy, oligarchy, etc. It's not for me. So this is like, I find that so far what Paris Paloma writes, I'm like, yes. Like, that's mainly my reaction, is like, yes, I agree, you know? But I think, like, even though, like, that's not very interesting, right? When someone completely agrees with you on everything. But I think what makes her interesting still is the language. Like, she's a beautiful writer, a really beautiful writer. And I appreciated that in Labor, but I don't think I really appreciated it as much as seeing now a second song where her writing is just as strong, and to see that this is really a pattern. Like, she is just a really strong writer, and I love that. Yeah, I'm loving this Paris Paloma stuff. So I'm really glad that somebody introduced her to me. I can't even remember now who it was, but I'm really glad that that happened. So yeah, that is my reaction to Good Boy by Paris Paloma. I love the imagery with the dogs. I love that she is doing so much heavy lifting of, like, she's playing the patriarchy, she's also playing the every woman, and like a lot is done just by costuming, right? And like the makeup and all of that stuff. So yeah, it's a really cool video, and like pretty low production cost, I think. Like, it's not super fancy, but like it has this sort of like indie vibe, because it doesn't have to be super wild production to have an impact, and they do a really good job with it, I think, because a bit of makeup and some costumes and like good acting really carries it, I think. So yeah, that was a really cool video. I love it. Thank you so much to everyone who recommended it. I had a really good time reacting to it. So that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video and you're enjoying the reactions and you like having these types of reactions, then you have other recommendations, because the recommendations I've been getting have been super great, then definitely leave them in the comments. I love to hear what you'd like me to react to next. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe if you want to see more reacts from me, because I do upload reacts as often as I can. Maybe not weekly anymore. I've been kind of a little bit stressed out and stuff, so I've been taking it a little bit easier. But I'm really enjoying this stuff, so I love your feedback, and I love to be able to share these reactions with you. And thank you so much for your support so far. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers, and we're almost there. We're at like 4 something. So I'm going to do some kind of special thing for the 500 subscribers. So also let me know in the comments if you have ideas for like what that should be. And other than that, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.